Vincent Willem van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter who was among the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. Over a span of just over 10 years, he produced around 2,100 artworks, with approximately 860 being oil paintings, with the majority completed in the final 2 years of his life. His body of work encompasses landscapes, still lifes, portraits and self-portraits, distinguished by vibrant hues and dynamic brushwork that played a pivotal role in the rise of expressionism within the realm of modern art. Van Gogh's artistic endeavours were starting to receive critical acclaim before dying on July 29, 1890 at the age of 37 under circumstances suspected to be suicide in
Auvers-sur-Oise,
France. Despite amassing a body of work nearly unparalleled by his contemporaries, Van Gogh struggled to sell his paintings during his lifetime, and the exact number of artworks he sold remains uncertain. However, it's known that Van Gogh frequently exchanges artworks with fellow artists, often bartering for necessities like food or art supplies. In this manner, Van Gogh effectively sold a considerable amount of his work while he was still alive. Nevertheless, Vincent's first commission came from his uncle Gogh, seemingly out of sympathy. In 1882, at his uncle's request, Van Gogh created a series of cityscapes of The Hague in the Netherlands, and it was his first paid commission since embarking on his artistic journey less than 2 years earlier. The series depicted a portrait of a portion of The Hague's historic city, focusing on the bridge at the intersection of
Herengracht and Prinsessengracht.
Gogh was pleased with the outcome, prompting him to commission another series, this time featuring Amsterdam. The only painting known to have been sold during Van Gogh's lifetime was his 1888 masterpiece, The Red Vineyard. The Red Vineyard was exhibited for the first time at the annual exhibition of Le 20, a group of 20 Belgian painters, designers and sculptors formed in 1883, and their annual exhibition was an invitation-only show exclusively for members. This annual Le 20 was in 1890 in Brussels, and Van Gogh sold The Red Vineyard for 400 francs to Belgian painter and collector Anna Bock, the only female member of Le 20. Anna was the sister of Eugène Bock, another impressionist painter and a friend of Van Gogh, whose portrait Van Gogh painted in Alais, France in autumn 1888. In a later letter to his brother Theo discussing the sale, Van Gogh admitted with some embarrassment that the Bocks paid the Le 20 1890 exhibition sticker price, when in fact they probably should have gotten a friend's price. In 1909, the painting was acquired from a Paris art gallery by Russian businessman Ivan Morozov. Following the Russian Revolution, the Bolsheviks nationalized the painting, and it eventually found its home in Moscow's Pushkin State Museum of Fine Arts, where it remains to this day. Throughout his life, Van Gogh grappled with psychotic episodes and delusions. Despite concerns about his mental well-being, he often overlooked his physical health, maintaining poor eating habits and consuming alcohol excessively. His friendship with French artist Paul Gauguin soured after a violent incident where, in a fit of rage, Van Gogh mutilated his own left ear with a razor. Van Gogh would eventually spend time in psychiatric facilities, including a stint at Saint-Rémy in southern France. Following his discharge and relocation to
Auberge-Ravoux,
in
Auvers-sur-Oise,
near Paris, he received care from the homeopathic doctor Paul Gogh. However, Van Gogh's depression persisted, and on July 27, 1890, he is believed to have shot himself in the chest with a revolver, succumbing to his injuries 2 days later. In the present day, Van Gogh's art has garnered extensive critical acclaim and commercial success over the ensuing decades, and he has become a lasting icon of the romantic ideal of the tortured artist. His paintings have commanded staggering prices at auction, with works such as Portrait of Dr. Gaucher, Portrait of Joseph Rouland, and irises fetching over $100 million each. Today, his profound legacy is commemorated and revered by the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, home to the largest collection of his paintings and drawings worldwide. In light of this, it's puzzling why Van Gogh experienced such limited success during his lifetime. From an artistic standpoint, his work doesn't appear significantly different from that of his contemporaries in the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist movements, such as renowned French painters Claude Monet and Edouard Vuillard, who enjoyed greater recognition and acclaim. Seeing as how during Van Gogh's lifetime he only managed to sell one painting, and now after his death his paintings are famous and admired across the world, why did Van Gogh have so little success selling his paintings? There are several factors that contributed to why Van Gogh had so little success selling his paintings during his lifetime. Van Gogh's painting career was remarkably brief. He began painting relatively late in 1880 at the age of 27 after moving to Brussels, and didn't finish until his suicide in 1890 at the age of 37, giving him about only a decade of artistic activity. In contrast, many of his contemporary Impressionists and Post-Impressionists lived much longer lives and had vastly longer careers. Notable Impressionist Claude Monet lived to the age of 86, and Edouard Vuillard lived to 71. This extended lifespan allowed them to persist through initial periods of unpopularity and ultimately achieve greater recognition. Van Gogh wasn't a Paris man and wasn't drawn to Paris as much as his contemporary Claude Monet. While Monet spent a significant portion of his career in Paris, the epicenter of Impressionism, before moving to Giverny in northern France, Van Gogh's time in Paris was less than 2 years. Unlike the Dutch Van Gogh, his fellow Impressionists were French, deeply ingrained in French culture and adept at organising themselves, as demonstrated by their establishment of an anonymous society to exhibit their works when rejected from the official French salon. They also frequently had affluent connections with Parisian circles like Edouard Vuillard, who sold some of his paintings to school acquaintances. Van Gogh, however, was primarily a solitary figure, with his main artist companion being Paul Gauguin, along with his brother Theo, an art dealer. His disposition leaned towards the abnormal, coupled with bouts of mental instability, depression and heavy drinking, traits that didn't lend themselves well to socializing or seamless integration into society. Van Gogh didn't excel as a draftsman by the standards of his wealthy late 19th century artistic contemporaries such as Holman Hunt, James Tissot, Lawrence Alma Tadema, or Gustav Klimt in his early stages. These artists could produce near photorealistic figures, and Monet's early work demonstrates an ability to approximate this style, whereas Van Gogh couldn't, hindering his ability to establish credentials in semi-realistic art before transitioning into Impressionism. We also have to consider that 19th, 20th and even today's century perceptions of what is good art were vastly different. In the 19th century, the most esteemed artists were highly trained professionals capable of devoting extensive time, up to a year, on a single meticulously detailed painting. Beneath them were professional portraitists and decorative artists like Czech painter Alphonse Mucha, along with pioneers of the avant-garde movement led by somewhat unconventional bourgeoisie figures like French painter Paul Cézanne. The avant-garde artists often struggled financially, and it's conceivable that Van Gogh was one amongst thousands of wannabe artists in Paris in the late 1800s. In the 20th century, the United States made a significant impact on the European art market by purchasing a substantial amount of lesser-known Parisian art, which was relatively inexpensive at the time. Factor in the promotion of artists as individuals with captivating life stories alongside the emergence of psychoanalysis, and you'll find Van Gogh's art and life story captivating the public imagination as a symbol of a tortured and misunderstood genius. Thus, his ability to channel his innermost struggles onto canvas has elevated his works to near priceless value. This has been me, Jack, and if you're painting right now, please leave a comment down below.